Asa Hutchinson, one of the rumored potential candidates for the 2024 Republican nomination sweepstakes. Well, I mean, here's the thing. This is the way that it played out in 2016. If we get to where there are more than like 3 or 4, maybe 5, including Trump, Republicans who announced their candidacy, you can expect to see over 10. Once we get to like 5, if we get to 5, you might as well assume that we're going to get over 10. Because once there's enough people in there so that nobody loses to Trump, but instead is one of like just 10 people who didn't win, that's when they'll all get on this, because there is just too much money, too much. It's not, people don't understand, I think, at least in the conventional wisdom media, that the price to pay to run for president, that's done. There is no price to pay, at least in terms of Republicans, if you lose in the presidency.
And look at Joe Biden.
I mean, and well,
right.
Yes, that's true. But he was a sitting senator.
Yeah.
I'm talking like, it's not that hard anymore. You can, it's just not that hard to do. There's a lot more fundraising apparatus. And
then it's like a good
you
platform
monetize
for
it.
a book or for, another position in government or in lobbying or whatever.
Exactly. And but here is Asa Hutchinson, and I don't think this guy understands the sort of irony of everything he's saying. They're responding to Trump dining with Nick Fuentes.
You personally prosecuted white supremacist groups. What's your reaction to seeing a former U.S. president associate with someone like that?
Well, I hope someday we won't have to be responding to what former President Trump has said or done. In this instance, it's important to respond. And as you mentioned, the last time I met with a white supremacist, it was in an armed standoff. I had a bulletproof vest on. We arrested them, prosecuted them, sent them to prison. And so, no, I don't think it's a good idea for a leader that's setting an example for the country or the party to meet with avowed racist or anti-Semite. And so it's very troubling, and it shouldn't happen. And we need to avoid those kinds of empowering the extremes. And when you meet with people, you empower. And that's what you have to avoid. You want to diminish their strength, not empower them. Stay away from it.
Trump has released multiple statements. What he's doing is he's denying knowing.
I pause it for 1 second. I mean, first off, I don't know where this guy's been for the past 40 some odd years. I mean, I don't remember Asa Hutchinson criticizing, let's say, Ronald Reagan going to the Neshoba County Fair to announce that his campaign, when he was running for the, I think it was the general election, was going to be about states' rights, just miles from where you had civil rights workers killed in the struggle for civil rights that became iconic. Literally made a movie about it. And every incident since then, or I don't know if you remember Donald Trump from when he was president or running for president. And the interesting thing you'll note now, and Kevin McCarthy's being smart about this, the first thing that they're doing is not, they're definitely going to get to Hunter Biden and this and that, but the first thing that they're doing is they're talking about impeaching the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas, and investigating the border, because they know that we've got to pivot off of the anti-Semitism and white supremacy that is become so important in our as part of the Republican brand. Like Charlottesville.
Yeah, Asa Hutchinson was like lukewarm in his critique on that, by the way.
But he doesn't want to go too far.
Yeah.
And but they want to get back to some of their bread and butter stuff. Let's return to the anti-immigration and the xenophobia, where we are much more comfortable being, where we don't have any donors that are going to get upset that and we don't have to, and so that's what's going on here with Asa Hutchinson, and the idea like we don't have to talk about Donald Trump anymore, dude. The reason why you're on that show is because that you may be running against Donald Trump. Period. End of story. I mean, give us a break.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the Republicans are trying to move away from the outright like meeting with Holocaust deniers to the just more standard, more palatable form of white supremacy that they engage in regularly.
Diminish their strength, not empower them. Stay away from it.
Trump has released multiple statements. What he's doing is he's denying knowing Nick Fuentes, but he's not condemning his views, let alone condemning Kanye West's history of anti-Semitic comments, recent history. So it's a pattern.
Well, I mean, you can have accidental meetings, things like that happen. This was not an accidental meeting. It was a set-up dinner with Kanye. And so this happened, but you certainly have every occasion that the question of white supremacy or neo-Nazism or denying the Holocaust comes up, you've got to be absolutely clear in your communication that this is not acceptable dogma, it's not acceptable conversation, it's not acceptable history, and you have to disavow it. It is as simple as that, and I'm very proud of the Republican Jewish Coalition. The former ambassador, U.S. ambassador in the Trump administration to Israel has condemned this, and so what Donald Trump did and his failure to condemn it is really the minority of the party. It's the extreme side of it, and that's what you've got to distance yourself from, and he failed to do that.
All right, let's be clear. The majority of the Republican Party is not the infinitesimally small Jewish Republicans. That's not the majority of the Republican Party. The reason why we're playing this clip is because it is so far and few between where you can find any type of full-throated criticism of Trump hosting Nick Fuentes.
The only reason that Asa Hutchinson is engaging in it is because it's in his self-interest to do so now. That's why he was much more lukewarm when Trump was in power, leader of the party, with Charlottesville saying there's very good people on both sides. Now, hey, he sees some blood in the water, smells it, I should say, running against him. Time to critique.
Yeah, there you go. And so we'll get some of this for a couple of days, and then they'll forget all about it as if it was completely meaningless. But Donald Trump knows what he's doing, and the Republican Party. Again, this is the same complaint they had with Trump 4 years ago, 6 years ago, was he's saying the quiet part loud, and we can't have that. And just as a side note, we've teased some information that we have on Nick Fuentes in the past, and I think we're gonna do a little bit more, make a little bit more of an effort to sort of like dig into this information we have. We had some pretty solid information that would, at the very least, indicate that Fuentes doesn't always practice what he preaches. I'm not sure how to phrase that, but we're going to do a little more digging into this, and we'll make more of an effort to get this information out. In the past we thought like, what was the point of that? But it appears that the Fuentes is has value to Donald Trump, and
yeah,
so
the former president.
Yeah, maybe we'll change our attitude about that.